Shout out to my man Horikoshi for having a quality sketch right before the newest episode of My Hero Academia airs. I see what you're doing there, and I like it. I love it, Horikoshi. Good man. So finally, we are introduced to one of my personal favorite heroes, Gang Orca. Love him. And I think many anime-onlys coming into this episode are going to probably think the same way as I feel. That he has an amazing design, and honestly, we all want more of him. I mean, when you just look at his design, you can clearly see Horikoshi spent a lot of time figuring out how he wanted to draw him. There's just so many details to his face, to his costume. He just looks freaking amazing. And if you have been around for a while, most likely you know what I always say when it comes to character designs. Usually they're very impressive, and it's honestly one of the big reasons why I love this series so much, or what got me into My Hero Academia, was because of the character designs. But if there's one thing that's better than our main character designs, it's always the villains. And you could see, when it came to Gang Orca's character design, Horikoshi went in. Like, he did his standard villain designs. Like, when Horikoshi makes a villain, usually they look insanely good, and you can see that he went the extra mile with Gang Orca. I just love his character, love his introduction, the way he just comes out of nowhere and all that, and the way the episode ends. It's great, and I'm just excited to finally see this man animated for the first time, because I've been waiting so long after seeing this in the manga. I want to make sure everybody's on the same page and understands what's going to be happening next week. So next week, there is going to be, once again, another filler episode. Now, before you start saying, oh no, we're getting into filler hell and all that, no, just calm down, okay? Just listen real quick, and then you can assume if you're going to like it or not. So next week, my hero is going to have a full-on filler episode that's actually not going to even be connected to the events that's going on in this episode. And the reason why is because next week, apparently, there's some form of charity event. Like, normally, when it comes to, like, certain television programs in Japan, most series are on break or don't air. And instead of going on break, My Hero Academia decided to opt in for a special charity episode that has something to do with the event, while also tying in with the new My Hero Academia movie. So I think, in terms of what, Studio Bones has on the table, what they need to do, and also make sure that they don't catch up with the manga, I think this was the best choice they possibly could ask for, because in reality, adding in this filler episode goes towards the total episode count for Season 3. So this necessarily means that with that episode, like this upcoming filler episode, that's one less episode they have to dedicate to continuing on with the manga, which means that eventually we will be able to get a Season 4, which makes perfect sense, because they're clearly wanting to stretch out this, one arc up into the end of Season 3 before we can get into the overhaul arc for Season 4. I'm assuming that's what they're trying to go for, which makes perfect sense, honestly, because if they're really trying to do that, they do need to have a better starting point, or a proper starting point for that arc. So it makes sense why they're going about this the way they have been recently, trying to add in some filler scenes and stuff. They just want to end the season at a proper place before they can, get into the next content of the manga. But okay, anyways, what's important about this upcoming filler, though, is that once again, it ties in with the movie of My Hero Academia, which I think is a good thing. Even though the movie's technically already been watched by many, that's been the cons and stuff and all that, we have yet to really have it officially released for everybody to see. Me personally, I have yet to see it. I really don't know what to expect. The only thing I have seen of the movie, besides the trailers I have discussed and all that, is that there's like this great epic scene with All Might and Izuku. That's the only thing. And I only saw like the character designs of it and like slight little tidbit of animation for that scene. I didn't even get to see who the real main villain of, the movie was. But overall, this upcoming filler episode is going to tie into that. And so if you want a little bit more backstory or background information for the movie, then that episode or the upcoming episode is going to be very vital, relevant. And also, once again, as a reminder, the movie is canon. That was officially confirmed by Horikoshi himself, that the movie is canon. So, yeah, if you're still on the fence and saying, oh, it's just a filler movie, no, it's not. It's actually relevant and a part, apparently, of the main series, and it expands upon things that Horikoshi just did not have the time to do for his manga. Remember, he's one man just writing a story, doing the art and all that. He doesn't have the time to do everything at once. It takes time, so obviously the movie is one way to get his story out there and expand upon the known universe of My Hero Academia. But okay, shelving that now, let's get into the current content within this episode. Sorry, I just want to make sure that's out of the way, because I know many are going to be asking that next week, talking to me about it, and I just wanted to make sure that's out of the way for everybody understands what the episode's going to be about going into it. But okay, anyways, we have a great Ochako moment in this episode, and this is one of the big reasons why I'm personally an Ochako fan, like why I ship Ochako and Izuku. Now, as I've always said, I don't want to rehash what I always say, but I want to say it again just to make sure if you're a newcomer to the channel, if Izuku doesn't end up with Ochako, it doesn't bug me. I'm fine with it. I'm not going to let that drag down the series or my opinion of the series. I love My Hero Academia. But I've always shipped Ochako and Izuku. And seeing how her interaction was, or how she felt towards Izuku within this episode, but also decided to strive forward and continue to try to be a hero, it makes me respect her as a character. And I think many looking at this episode from, a standpoint of just trying to analyze the situation will realize what Ochako did was a very ballsy move, or something that took a lot of courage, something that took, just a lot of passion for wanting to become a hero just to do what she did. Because, look, she obviously has a crush on Izuku. It's very obvious. I mean, if you've seen romance series of anime or manga, or even seen any type of romance, or if you've just seen any type of shonen in general, you'll know that she obviously has some feelings for Izuku. And because of her little exchanges and what she thought about throughout this episode, you know that she was crushing on him hard, getting jealous, feeling upset, but at the same time she realized she cannot allow her feelings of wanting to be with Izuku or crushing on him get in the way of what she needs to accomplish, for instance, becoming a hero. She realizes it's not the time and place for her to be crushing on Izuku. She needs to focus. She needs to march forward and try to become a hero for her family, for herself, and that's what she's always wanted. We know Ochako's motive. So, a lot of respect I have for her as a character, just shelving her feelings for the time being for Izuku, just being able to accomplish her goal. So that's what that entire moment stood for, and I think, many might agree with me that it's a great moment just to show that she's not letting her feelings get in the way, and she wants to be able to accomplish the goal she set out to do first before anything else. So, yeah, like I said, a lot of just mad respect for Ochako. I think many can agree with me that that was definitely an amazing moment for her character, just showing how she has changed over time throughout the course of the series, but also how she's not acting like a typical female character in a manga or anime that lets her feelings get in the way of what she really set out to do. I'm thinking of you, certain individual female characters. Now, let's talk about Kami for a second. Now, this entire segment with Kami is just pretty much just comedy, but it's hilarious just to see how shy our boy Izuku is when it comes to R18 type convos with Mineta and Zero. So Mineta and Zero, they start talking with each other. Zero's like, hey, I got some R18 stuff to talk to you about. He's like, oh, really? I'm interested. And they start talking about how, Izuku was found alone with Kami when she, transformed out of Ochako. And, Mineta's getting all jealous. They get over to Izuku and they start yelling at this man. It's absolutely hilarious because we know how Izuku is. He's not someone to do that. He's not someone to go out of his way and do anything like that. But it's just, I felt like in that moment, it really kind of expands upon Zero as a character, Izuku as a character, but also makes Mineta a little bit more likable. Now, as I've said many times in the past, Mineta is obviously one of the most hated characters of the series. Many honestly just do not like him, want him written out of the series, and I understand, he can be a bit of a scumbag, okay, I know that, but I like Mineta. He's a pretty cool dude in his own weird way, and in this moment, with him interacting with Zero and talking to Izuku, getting jealous, it was a very normal convo, especially for Mineta of all people. Like, okay, normally Mineta is being a creep, and he's usually, looking at everybody, he's getting up close to them and all that. He's never usually talking to the guys and all that about certain things, which you would see in normal, everyday life. Because let's be real here, guys do it, girls do it as well. You talk to people and all that, and that's pretty much what that scene was. Just seeing something that honestly fit in character with Mineta, fit in character with Zero, Izuku, just what you would see in that type of setting, and I thought it was absolutely hilarious. It was definitely one of the least creepy moments for Mineta to date, and it just felt natural, honestly. It didn't didn't feel forced or anything. So, personally, great scene, funny scene, just seeing how Izuku got all shy and embarrassed, but still, nonetheless, it was definitely one of the highlights of the episode for me when it comes to comedy, especially when Kami was just sitting there waving and all that, just being very passive. Oh my god, that's great. But okay, so another little comedy moment is the stuff with Bakugo and how he tells the people that he needs to rescue, save yourself. Bakugo. Bakugo, I mean, in reality, I guess, given the situation, like, if they weren't that hurt where they can move by themselves, he is saying the right thing. But there's still a time and place for being aggressive and not aggressive, but also the words you say matter quite a bit. See, at the end of the day, Bakugo is a hero. And when you think of a hero, you don't think of someone saying, save yourself. That's the number one thing you probably should never say as a hero. Like, imagine if All Might was just to walk out there and is like, save yourself, I am here. Like, yo, that man would not have gotten that far as a hero, okay? If he was to say something like what Bakugo just said in this episode. I mean, it's hilarious, it's funny, fits in with Bakugo's character, but that is a flaw. And he is soon obviously going to realize that he needs to tone it down quite a bit, because his mouth is going to get him in trouble. Because he may be able to get away with it in, with his schoolmates, with his teachers, but that does not change the fact that when he's on the job, he needs to watch what he says. He needs to reassure people, keep them happy, because even if they, only have, like, let's say a sprained arm or something, and it's just dislocated, but they can still walk, that still doesn't change the fact what he said is very rude and would honestly not show good on his record as a hero. I like how that scene was honestly funny, but it also shows that Bakugo still has a lot to work on when it comes to being a hero. He's trying his best, obviously, thanks to what we saw in the last episode and what Kirishima and, Kaminari was talking about, but still, that is a flaw, and he needs to try to figure out a way to kind of watch what he says. So, yeah, that was a critical moment, which, let's get into that. The HUC individuals, this group that all of our characters, even the new characters, are having to save, and they're being graded by, is honestly a very interesting test, because this is something that every hero has to do. For instance, let's think about past events in My Hero Academia, and the whole event with All for One versus One for All. All Might was standing before All for One fighting, but behind him, we saw even a scene to where he had to protect individuals that could have easily been, casualties if things would have went south. All Might was standing in between, the civilians and the villain. And honestly, that's something we've always seen throughout the course of the series. Heroes having to save individuals while fighting a villain. For instance, think about what happened in the first arc when the villains first attacked. Shigaraki was introduced, the Nomu was first introduced. You had to where all the students were technically people that needed to be rescued. Even though they were fighting back, they needed to be rescued. The heroes were trying to keep them safe for the teachers, and, things could have been really bad. It could have went really south very quickly. And this is a theme that's always popped up time and time again throughout the journey of My Hero Academia. The Stain arc is another example of this, of how heroes have to come in and protect people while holding back a villain. Take the spot of, like, normal civilians or normal job workers that have to, like, put out fires or police force until they arrive. They have to do the job for them, fill in the spots. So yeah, that's what this test is all about. Doing something that all heroes have to do. Even if you are someone that obviously is strong to fight villains, you're still going to have to rescue people, save people. That's what you do as a hero. And out of all the characters a part of UA, I have to say that Izuku probably has the most experience. And the reason why I say that is because the whole event of what happened with Muscular. As you remember, with Muscular, Izuku had to stand before a villain that was honestly overwhelming. Someone that required Izuku to go all in, break his freaking arms, just to be able to stop the man and protect the individual that was behind him, Kota. So it shows that Izuku already does have experience with this, having to protect an individual until either backup arrives or if he has to do it all by himself. He's had experience with this, and he's probably going to be able to put this knowledge to his advantage to be able to pass this test. And that's where this entire event comes in, with how they're being graded. See, when you're rescuing people, these HUC guys, they're grading you for how you work together as heroes, how you use your quirk, how you protect and reassure individuals. There's a lot of little details that are thrown in, and honestly, when you think about it, these guys are really good at their job. I mean, they're analyzing to see if these heroes are doing their job right. Like with what Ochako was going to do. She was going to actually raise the buildings, the rubble up, to be able to save the individual that was, you know, kind of slightly being crushed. In a way, it makes sense on paper with what Ochako was going to do. She was going to save the civilian, raise the, you know, the rubble. But at the same time, because of the way the rubble was, and how some of it was very unstable, and she would have started moving the wrong things, lifting stuff up, it would have came down, started collapsing, which in turn would have caused more victims, and it would have been a lot worse than it already was. So, just because it seems really good at first, you need to work together and figure it out, take it slowly, and try to be as effective as possible, which is why everybody working together, like Ochako, Momo, Zero, all of them working together to be able to save the civilians that were stuck under the buildings. So yeah, that also goes to show that these individuals of HUC guys are also analyzing for how you work together, but also how you use your quirk to be very effective, and also use the terrain to be able to save people that you know you can save. Like for instance, Suyu going to the river, or the, you know, and all that, to be able to save people, to be able to use her quirk effectively to get people out there stuck maybe on rocks or whatever if a flood happens. So yeah, there's a lot of details that you could analyze about this episode when it comes to HUC and what they're doing for, you know, this exam. But one of the big takers that you gotta look at, though, is to reassure the individuals. I think that is probably the most important thing from what you can get from this episode when it comes to this exam, is that you need to be able to put on an appearance to reassure people that everything's going to be okay. Even though it's probably not, and things are probably going to get a hell of a lot worse, you still need to have a face on to say, everything is going to be okay. Everything will be fine. You know, we'll make it out of this. And that's kind of what All Might has always done. Think about it. All Might has always put on a smile. He needs to smile. That was a big thing that Nana taught him. His master taught him that you need to smile, have a face like that, never show you're scared or anything. And Izuku has kind of started to learn this too against Muscular, and he's learned it from All Might as well. And so in this episode, he realizes what All Might's been doing all along. All Might, when he's like, I am here, that's his catchphrase, letting everybody know to reassure them that he is here and nothing's gonna happen, they will be safe. He will get them all out of there. Even if he possibly can't, he still needs to say that. He needs to put on the mask to be able to make sure they're fine, or reassured where they're not panicking. Because one of the biggest things that you don't want to do, or have when you're trying to save someone, is the person panicking and making the situation a lot worse. So that is the importance of this episode, and it makes you start to wonder, what's going to be Izuku's catchphrase? What's he going to say to reassure people? Because think about it. He can't just copy, I am here from All Might. I mean, we already know that Izuku wants to become his own man. He wants to be completely different from All Might. He wants to follow in his footsteps, but he does want to become his own hero. And so, he can't just straight up say, like, I am here as his catchphrase. It needs to be something a little bit different. You know, when I think about probably one of the best catchphrases that Izuku could potentially have as a hero to probably make and reassure everybody everything's going to be okay, is what he said to Kota when he was fighting Muscular. If you remember, you can go back and watch the scene yourself, but when Izuku was being pressed down by Muscular and he was about to, you know, die, and he's like, I'm sorry, mother, and all that, you know, he's saying, I'm sorry, you know, he tells Kota behind him, like, it's fine. He looks at him and he's like, it's fine. It's fine. And that line, I think, would probably be the perfect catchphrase for Izuku if he was to say something like that. It's fine. And, you know, I got you. I won't let this person pass. I think that is probably one of the best lines Izuku could have if he wants to reassure people. I don't know, just the emotion he had in that moment, especially when he was saving Kota from, you know, Muscular, definitely, I think is perfect. But okay, so let's talk about other things. Let's see here. We got the stuff with, Kami out of the way, Mineta, the filler, Bakugo, HUC. I guess the last thing to really talk about would be Anasa and Todoroki's little exchange throughout this episode. Now, it's very quick, and I'm not going to get too deep into it because, spoilers, but I want to get the things that are very obvious out of the way. Number one, it's very clear that Anasa does not like Todoroki at all. He does not like him. Because he's like, you have the same eyes as your old man, as Endeavor, which makes you wonder, why is he saying that? Now, I'm just going to pop some hints here for you guys. If you look at the opening song, you'll probably see where the man is coming from. You'll understand what Inasa is really saying. But just go look at the opening. It automatically kind of shows you what to expect or what he's trying to say. But he obviously doesn't like him, and Todoroki's trying to figure out what's going on. Because he's like, you have the same eyes. Even though you've changed since then, you still have the same eyes as your old man. Which makes you wonder, what's he trying to say? What's he mean by that? What's going on here between Inasa? What's happened between him and Endeavor or whatever? So that is the big question building up throughout that segment, is like, what's happening here? You know, what will happen? But that's pretty much about it. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know if you enjoyed this episode. Let me know if you hated this episode. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, be safe. Chibi out.